Hi, welcome back to BK Garage. If you followed along on the Monte Carlo build in my other videos, you'll know I did some racing with it. It wasn't real fast, but I had a lot of fun. I want to do some more. So that 200 horsepower small block that's in it doesn't quite cut it. It's time to go faster. So what we've got here is a 350 Chevy block, 4-bolt mains. This actually came with the Monte Carlo when I bought it. The engine was in pieces though, but it was a good block. So I've got a Scat forged crankshaft in here, Eagle H-beam rods, SRP forged pistons. Block has been bored 30 over. It's a stroker crankshaft, so 3.75 strokes, so it's now a 383. Put in a Lunati mechanical roller cam, which is 273, 279 duration, and 578, 585 lift, and 110 degree lobe separation angle. So should be fairly snotty. So as I said, it's 4-bolt main block. Put in ARP studs. I had the machine shop assemble the short block. They did all the machining on it and balanced it and everything. It's internally balanced. And they didn't want much extra over the cost of the machine work and parts to put it together. So had them do that part, and I'm going to do the rest. Once it's all done, I'm going to take it back and we'll throw it on their dyno to fire it up for the first time. So right now I'm just going to mask everything off, get it ready for a fresh coat of paint, and then start assembling. Put a little acetone on a lint-free cloth. Wipe everything down that I want to tape.
But this is how it was satisfaction.
I gave the whole thing a once over with a little stainless wire brush just to get off any loose paint that the hot tank didn't take off. Everything that's on there stuck really well. I'm going to prime the whole thing before I spray it orange again. Well, the primer's dry. Time to make it orange. That's flashed off. Let's give her another one. I'm gonna pull this timing set off of here. Just one the machine shop put on it, but yeah, it's not heavy enough for what I'm doing with this engine. Put a proper timing set now. This one has a Torrington bearing on the back of it. Be better with my roller cam. So we're going to install it straight up. Let's line up the dot and the 0. There's the other 0 for my keyway. Got it. Just gotta hold your tongue right. Yep, we're good. Okay, so timing set's in place. I have a couple different thrust buttons here. Being a roller cam, you're going to use one. So there's a solid aluminum one that the machine shop had put in with that single roller timing set that I don't want to use. I've got this one from Comp. It's got a bearing in it. Seems like a better idea to me. Fits a little better too, but it's a lot taller. So we'll throw it in, test fit timing cover. It's a Mylodon timing cover that's reinforced for the thrust button. I'd say it's a good 1/8 inch too tall. Almost there. Rather than trying to sand or machine down that button, just took the timing cover and put it on my sandbag and gave it a thump with a mallet. I think once it's out a little bit more, it'll work. Very close there. Needs to go just a little bit more. Now let's put the cover on. See how much that squishes. Left a definite mark. Let's bolt it on and see if the cam will walk around it all. I think it's just touching right there. Very carefully pry it on the cam. It's back all the way. I think that's got it. It's just touching. I probably had the cam moves, but it comes right back into place if I do it really gently. If I push harder, I can see the timing cover moving. Time to lock this down. I like a little Loctite on my cam bolts just to be safe. I'm going to use these grade 8 ones that came with the lock plate instead of the ARP bolts, just because that way I can actually make use of the lock plate. Found a thin socket. Oh, this always makes me nervous. I have broke a bolt off in a cam before. Luckily, it came back out fairly easy. Front seal's installed in the timing cover. Just put a piece of pipe underneath to support it evenly so that nothing gets bent. Pounded in using a seal driver. The camera went dead last night as I was finishing torquing the cam bolts. So tightened these to 20 foot-pounds and then bent the lock plate over. As I said, I used the grade 8 hardware that came with this lock plate kit instead of the ARP bolts. That way I could actually make use of the lock plate. I also staked the lock plate at the pin here. Just used a center punch and give it a smack on a couple of sides. Not real hard, but just enough to mushroom the lock plate out a little bit so that pin can never walk out. It shouldn't anyway, but just to be safe, I did that. Now the lock plate actually protrudes over top of the pin a little bit. Let's get a light bead of silicone on here. I like using black or TV. I've tried blue, tried orange. I think black works the best. I don't use much, but I just want a thin coat over everything. My gasket in place. And another bead on the outside. I'll go a touch thicker on this one. lubricate my front seal a little bit before I put this in. I test fit it onto the vibration damper before I put it in the cover just to make sure everything was good. Small bolts and big fingers. Not a good combination. One thing to watch on a lot of this ARP hardware, you can see that washer has a little bit of a chamfer to it there on one side, not the other. The bolts have a little bit of a rounded shoulder, so you got to make sure you have your washers right side up. Make sure those are all loose. So that when I put the damper on, it will center the front seal and line the timing cover up. That way there's no leaks. I don't use the crank bolt to pull the damper on. I don't drive it on with a hammer. Piece of all thread rod, thread it right into the crank till it bottoms out. A couple of washers and just crank it in with this nut. A little lubrication in between the washers. Sure this is in all the way. Take it until it bottoms, then back it off just a little so it's not jammed into the end of the threads. That's seated. Now I'll snug all these up. Just snug. I'll leave it sit for an hour or so and then come back and torque them down. Let that silicone set up a bit. I left this for about an hour, let it cure a bit. I snugged them, but it was still kind of wet, so I gave it another couple hours. Now we'll tighten them. Not getting too carried away. Probably putting about 10 foot-pounds on them. These two actually have to come back out. That's where my timing pointer is going to go. That's actually dead on. This is adjustable. There's a couple little Allen screws there. But I've got the engine sitting at top dead center right now. And that pointer is dead on. Now's the time to double check the machine shop's work. Very nice. Mains are all good. Not that I don't trust my machine shop. It's just everything's here. Why not double check? On to the oil pump. Using the Mylodon pan and pickup. So that's got to be driven in the rest of the way into the pump. So instructions say to do it in the vise so you don't break the neck of the oil pump off. I'd say that's probably a good idea. That's somewhat seated in there. Had to pull the one bolt out of the oil pump. Take a little tweak to get it back in. Throw a little Loctite on these too. They're not in there very tight. Stop before it starts to feel really loose. Once again, ARP stud. Using an oil pump drive shaft with a steel sleeve. Doesn't matter what engine I build, performance or not, it gets one. Just don't trust those plastic sleeves. And honestly, I'll use ARP studs and stuff like that too, even on a stock build. It's not that much money, and I just like it a lot better than a bolt. A little lube under the washer. Again on the bottom side of the nut. This one gets 55 foot-pounds. Usually give it a couple clicks just to make sure it doesn't turn a little more. That one's good. So next, I'm going to measure oil pan pickup clearance. Straight edge across, about 8 1/4 inches. See what we get here. Seven 7/8. Actually 7 13/16. So that's got to come up quite a ways. A little high there now, about 8.5. Rotate it back down a bit. Okay, we're at 8 1/4 there to this piece that keeps the pickup off the bottom of the pan. So that'll be contacting right now. Then we'll have about another 1/4 inch to the pickup. Add the gasket in there. Should have us right around that 3/8 of an inch that we're looking for. Leave it right there. Double check my measurements one more time. Yeah, it's 8 1/4. Let's test fit the pan. I'd say that is just contacting the bottom of the pan. Put a little dab of assembly lube on there. See if it transfers. Nope. Must not be quite touching. I'm going to rotate that back up just a touch. I would like if this strap would contact the pan before the gasket goes in. There we go. If you can see that on camera or not, there's a little spot of assembly lube in there. Probably not quite touching, but it's within a 32nd of an inch. Another must-have for me on an engine is a one-piece pan gasket if it's available. Let's check the fit on this guy. That feels good. I'll set the pan on just to be sure. This is a nice one as it's reinforced here, so you can't squish it and cut it with the pan. And it's a steel core. That looks good. I always silicone all my corners. And I'll throw a little bead around the timing cover as well. Actually run a small bead around the entire thing, just to make sure. Don't need much, you don't want it squishing out all over. Again, I'll put a small bead around it for the pan to seal against. These ones I'm going to tighten right away because that gasket has that crush protection built into it. I'll snug it down and everything should be sealed up good. There we go, pan's on. Should be a good seal. Just that little fine bead of silicone is just starting to squish out in a couple spots. I'm going to throw an oil filter on it now. I won't tighten it down or anything. I'll pull it off and fill it before the engine gets fired. Put it on loose for now to keep it nice and clean in there. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, please like, share, subscribe, tell your grandma, and I'll see you on the next one when we get into the top end of this engine.